rising market will do? Oh, it's going to get a lot higher. In fact, I told people 5 weeks ago, this is a great time to buy. I got criticized for that. Now they don't criticize me anymore. People should have listened. But it's going to go a lot higher. You're going to see, we've never had anything like this happen. It's an explosion of investment and jobs, and great companies are coming in. Never seen anything like it.
There has certainly been an explosion, Mr. President. But the one thing that we haven't seen an explosion in is inflation, much to the chagrin of the liberal fake news media, who's been reporting now for a month or more that inflation was going to soar under these Trump tariffs. And of course, tons of people believing and buying this. And that is why you are now watching episode 2 of Debunking Liberal Fake News Media, where I once again am going to go back to prior reporting from just over a month ago and pull it up in the form of a receipt, analyze why they got the Trump tariffs and inflation wrong, and correct it all. And I'm going to do it all right here, right now, on American Advocates. This is most likely a headline you've already seen possibly several times already. Inflation slowed for the third month in a row, and also for the third month in a row, it came in lower than forecasted. Now at 2.3% for the month of April. President Donald Trump has seen nothing but success when it comes to fulfilling one of his major campaign promises to lower inflation rates. Take a look at this graph. The first thing I want you to notice is the year 2022. Look at that giant spike in inflation. Now, the liberal media wants you to think that something like that is going to happen under President Donald Trump because of these tariffs. They despise Trump after all. But I'll gently remind you right now, that giant spike where we're seeing inflation at 9% in 2022 happened under Joe Biden. What we're seeing under President Donald Trump, the lowest inflation rates since the year 2021. It's been over 4 years since we've seen this. Gas prices are down, consumer prices are down, employment is up, the economy is looking healthy. But these results were not something that was predicted just over a month ago by top economists. Take a listen to this.
That was my next question. I'm going to pick an arbitrary time frame, 1 month, for example. If we got this trade fight and the tariffs, and they continue for 1 full month, what's the impact on the economy?
It's very bad. I think even if we set aside what's going on with the trade deficit, you're going to get a big increase in the trade deficit in the first quarter because all of these companies tried to push forward the imports before the tariffs took effect, okay? So you'll probably look at a drop by real GDP. It's what happens in the rest of the economy. There I would expect little, if any, growth. I would expect the worst performance by the U.S. economy, excluding trade, since the COVID recession.
According to the reporting there, it wasn't even going to be 1 month until the Trump tariffs wreaked havoc on our economy and caused inflation to soar. But of course, quite the opposite has happened. So much so that now JP Morgan is walking back their recession talks. That Trump recession that you've seen trending on social media, it's likely to not even happen at all. According to JP Morgan, there is less than a 50% chance now that a recession happens at all in the year 2025 because they're starting to finally wake up and see what the real game plan is here. Now, if we could only get Too Late Jerome Powell to finally wake up, I think one of the keys to doing that is to get this guy who looks like an absolute crusty boomer who goes home and watches CNN and MSNBC reports on President Donald Trump to lower interest rates. Why isn't he lowering interest rates? It is good economic practice after 2 months of inflation being down to lower the interest rates, and he has yet to do it. Now, 3 months in, inflation has slowed again, and he is still concerned, claiming that tariffs are inflationary, which anybody who knows anything about tariffs, clearly not Jerome Powell, knows that tariffs are de facto deflationary, a message I've been spreading on this channel since its creation. You see, these top economists, they don't understand what inflation actually is. I know that's a crazy statement to make, but they don't. I'm the one here, sitting here as a YouTuber, making good investments in the stock market and understanding and being able to predict inflation being down 3 months in a row. All the while, they're on the news media talking about how this is going to be the worst thing we've ever seen. They've been nothing but wrong. Maybe that's because Jerome Powell is watching the news and filling his head with all the rumors about how none of the countries are reaching out to Trump with these tariffs, trying to create new trade deals. And of course, that can't be further from the truth. J.D. Vance and Prime Minister Modi of India discussing trade deals. President Donald Trump and Keir Starmer on the phone discussing their trade deal. And Scott Bessent in Switzerland meeting with the Chinese for 2 days in a row negotiating on trade. It's happening. The liberal media isn't reporting on facts. What they're doing is they're reporting on what they want to be the reality. You see, they hate President Donald Trump so much that they wish for his failure, and subsequently, they hope for America's failure too. And I can't find a better example of this than how the Wall Street Journal reported on this great inflation news for the month of April today. Look at this. Monthly inflation picks up in April in midst of tariff swings. Inflation slowing for the third month in a row and at rates we haven't seen for over 4 years, and this is how the Wall Street Journal chooses to report on this? It's absolutely unbelievable, and almost as unbelievable to me as the fact that anybody would bother even subscribing to this. You have to subscribe and pay them to read such nonsense like these headlines. But that's the fake news for you, proving that once again, Trump Derangement Syndrome is the most devastating mental illness in America. So for the love of God, someone share this channel and any other conservative YouTube channel that's similar to this with Jerome Powell so that he can break free from his TDS and finally lower the interest rates. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.